Innocent until proven guilty. This is one that's been a long time coming. And it's one of those subjects that will probably get me blocked on YouTube again because YouTube flags pretty much every one of my videos for being controversial and not suitable. Um, so please do share this video if you got anything out of it. I don't normally just come out and say that, but share the video because I get dropped all the way to the bottom of the search engine and nobody will see it. But innocent until proven guilty. And I'll just tell you that the concept of innocent until proven guilty is a complete fallacy. It is ethically sound to hear, but it is not true. You are absolutely guilty until proven innocent. If you were presumed innocent, you would not be searched, you would not have your vehicle searched, you would not have your home searched, you would not be interrogated by police and social workers and conciliators and counselors and everybody else in whatever facet or even on the job, interrogated by managers or district managers or whoever, accusing you of doing things or suspecting you of doing things. You're not innocent until proven guilty if you're constantly in a state of having to prove your innocence. If they approach you and they're like, oh, well, if you had nothing to hide, you wouldn't mind if we searched your vehicle. Yeah, I do mind if you search my vehicle, whether I have anything to hide or not, because it's my vehicle. But you're assuming that I've done something wrong, so you want to pick it apart and make a big deal out of it and inconvenience me for nothing. And it does happen every day, all the time, not just in America, all over the world. Because this is for the most part a global concept. Oh, innocent until proven guilty. And that implies that the proof of guilt, the burden of guilt, is on the state to prove that you are guilty of something, but it is not. It is your burden to prove that you are innocent, even though you've done nothing. And then, of course, if you get into trouble with the law and you want an attorney, they're like, oh, he's trying to lawyer up, he's guilty. And a lot of police, a lot of detectives actually believe this. But if you've ever witnessed or been through a situation where you've been hassled by the police, hassled by the FBI, hassled by detectives, hassled by social workers, you probably want an attorney in your corner watching out for you because they will steamroll you. They have absolutely judged you the moment they saw you, whether you're guilty or not. There's nothing wrong with getting a lawyer. Oh, but they think it's some kind of a crime. And they hold that against you. The wise man knows. The wise man knows. It's like these shows. Do you ever watch any of those detective shows? And I don't mean like detective dramas. I mean actual detective shows where they show you the actual detectives and they talk about an actual crime from out of the news and go through the whole thing. They interview the people or they follow a detective around on a case, a real like a reality show type like Cold Case Files or Forensic Files or something like that. Dateline NBC or 2020 does these things on, what is that, the Investigative Discovery Channel. Watch those kind of shows and watch what happens. You see these detectives and they round people up and they suspect this person of this and that person of that, and they drag them in and they interrogate them. And every time, listen to these shows, watch these detectives, these real life detectives. Yeah, I know this guy's guilty because he got arrested 5 years ago for this and that, or I knew this guy's guilty the moment I laid eyes on him. And then they end up letting him go. Why? Because they weren't guilty, but they assumed that they were, every single one of them. And the thing that stands out for me on those shows is that every single episode, it seems like they'll run through 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people that they drag in, and they know they got their man, or they know they got their woman, they know they got the guilty party. Oh, we got them now. And it turns out it wasn't them and they got to let them go. Do you ever apologize to those people? Can you compensate them for being harassed? Or do you just not care? Do you just sit there and say, oh, I'm just doing my job? The oh, I'm just doing my job scenario. Isn't it funny how when people are doing something to someone that they know is wrong, they like to say, I'm just doing my job? You ever notice that? Like using the statement implies that they had no choice in the matter. It's a shield that's going to protect them from their unethical actions, protect them from their own conscience. And the truth is, they had a choice. They had a choice. They decided not to make one. I'm not really so much concerned about their own conscience as they're concerned about what other people might think of them, or they're afraid people will see through what they really are. I know that's a whole other discussion, but it's a valid point. Just doing my job. Bite me, just doing my job. You know, one particular episode comes to mind, and I think it was off of Forensic Files. I think it was. I could be wrong. It was a guy who was accused of murdering his wife, and they kept pulling this guy in for 10 years. Off and on, they'd drag him in because they had no evidence at all. They would drag him in, and they'd interrogate the guy and hassle him. And then 10 years after the murder was committed, another guy was caught in the act. Okay, he was caught killing somebody, and when they brought him in, he confessed to a couple of other murders, including that guy's wife. So you hassled a man who was grieving over the death of his wife for over a decade for nothing. For nothing. He didn't do it. And what's the most that guy's going to get out of it? A meaningless apology from people who were just doing their job? Seriously, that's innocent until proven guilty? Innocent until proven guilty is something that they tell people, that they try to drive into your mind to convince you that you have a chance and that you don't have to be afraid of law and order. But you do. You do have to be afraid of a system that's that powerful. They can manipulate you, do whatever they want to you with not even an apology. You know, I knew a woman who lived in Topeka. I'm not going to name her. But I knew this woman, and her boyfriend was wanted on a murder charge. Her ex-boyfriend, I should say. And they came around talking to her. Detectives came, wanted to talk to her. Hey, we're looking for so-and-so. And she was like, you know, we're not together anymore. I really haven't seen him in, God, months. I'm not sure, like 7, 8, 9 months. But I haven't seen him, haven't heard from him. I don't know where he is. They didn't believe her. So they came back to her house with a warrant and KBI. And KBI is the Kansas FBI, Kansas Bureau of Investigation, and tore her house apart. This guy apparently had been wounded somehow. So he was just bleeding, I guess, and figured he must have gone there to get patched up or something. And they were looking for DNA. So they pulled up the floorboards in her kitchen. They took the joints from under her sinks to see if any blood went down the drains, I guess. They took her house apart. Caught the guy a few days later, and he hadn't seen her. He was like, no, I haven't been there in months. So you went and stripped down this woman's house for nothing. Who's going to pay for that? Who's going to fix it? Look this up, okay? Because there's a lot of complaints on the internet from people who have had their homes broken into, and a lot of them were incidences where the police broke into the wrong address. This happens. Or they broke in looking for someone who wasn't there, you know, a family member's home that they assumed was hiding somebody, and found nothing. No apologies and no repairs. They don't fix their damage. Who's going to fix this woman's house? KBI ain't going to do it. And she was innocent. But she was presumed guilty until proven innocent. And they would have continued to assume that she was guilty had they not found this man. And the most you can hope for is a hollow apology from people that were just doing their job. That is not innocent until proven guilty. It's enough that you even get accused of a crime. To be accused of something is enough to completely destroy your life. Here's an example. Here's a way out example. O.J. Simpson. Now, I don't know O.J. Simpson. I don't know if the man's guilty or not. That's not what I'm talking about here. Just for point of fact, Let's imagine that he is completely innocent, but the assumption of guilt has completely destroyed his life and the lives of those around him. Now, what happens if tomorrow somebody comes forward or somebody has found out, yeah, I did it, I killed them? Can they ever repay this man for the damage that's been done if he was innocent? Like I said, it's not about whether he's guilty or innocent. I'm just talking hypothetically here. You can't reimburse that. Or I talked in my last video talking about the law, the difference between true justice and legal justice, another video I just done not too long ago. And the example of prisoners who end up being incarcerated for months, years, and even decades, and it turns out that they're completely innocent. People who are assumed to be guilty get locked up all the time because they were guilty until proven innocent. It's just not true. It's a lie. It's a lie, and we all need to be careful. It's something to really watch out for. Innocent until proven guilty. This is one that's been a long time coming. And it's one of those subjects that will probably get me blocked on YouTube again, because YouTube flags pretty much every one of my videos for being controversial and not suitable. So please do share this video if you got anything out of it. I don't normally just come out and say that, but share the video because I get dropped all the way to the bottom of the search engine and nobody will see it. But innocent until proven guilty. And I'll just tell you that the concept of innocent until proven guilty is a complete fallacy. It is police and social workers and conciliators and counselors and everybody else in whatever facet or even on the job, interrogated by managers or district managers or whoever, accusing you of doing things or suspecting you of doing things. You're not innocent until proven guilty if you're constantly in a state of having is ethically sound to hear, but it is not true. You are absolutely guilty until proven innocent. If you were presumed innocent, you would not be searched, you would not have your vehicle searched, you would not have your home searched, you would not be interrogated by having to prove your innocence. If they approach you and they're like, oh, well, you know, if you had nothing to hide, you wouldn't mind if we searched your vehicle. Yeah, I do mind if you search my vehicle, whether I have anything to hide or not, because it's my vehicle. But you're assuming that I've done something wrong, so you want to pick it apart and make a big deal out of it and inconvenience me for nothing.